Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Attorney Fred Rispoli, member of the XRP community, has a major announcement, and those are his words, by the way, a major announcement coming tomorrow, November 22nd, 2022. Although by the time you're listening to this, it probably already is November 22nd. Although the announcement is not going to be made until the morning. So I'm not sure what this is going to be, but I'm going to share with you what we know, and we can talk a little bit about it and speculate. We can sure as hell do that in the meantime. And also, I want to share with you some stuff from David Schwartz, who, of course, is Ripple's CTO and co-creator of the XRP ledger. He had some thoughts about the whole FTX fiasco that he just published a few hours ago. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, Attorney Rispoli, he is the XRP community member who sued Jay Clayton and Billy Boy Hinman earlier this year. In fact, you can see here. Let me just show you. There's a tweet on May 9th of this year. He wrote, he tagged his website xrplawsuits.com to sign up for lawsuits against ex-SEC officials Jay Clayton and William Hinman. Please complete the 1-minute form. And the website's up. It's the and actually that's the tweet that he still has pinned on his profile at this moment in time. And so I'll just explain the background. It's written on his website right here. Check this out. A lawsuit was filed on April 11th, 2022 in the U.S. District Court of Arizona against former SEC employees Walter Joseph Clayton and William Hinman for allegations of tortious interference with the business expectancy of all XRP Ledger network users by improperly targeting the XRP Ledger network to improperly benefit their former clients from private practice before joining the SEC. And so I'll pause to note that when that happened, the entire XRP community honestly was quite thrilled, just in a general sense anyway, because we all have been following closely, most of us anyway, the nonsense, the appearances of improprieties, the outright corruption that's been occurring within the SEC as it pertains to specifically XRP, and fair enough, the broader crypto space, but certainly specifically as it appears to, has impacted rather, XRP holders and developers building on top of the ledgers, speculators, entrepreneurs, everyone within the ecosystem has been harmed drastically. And so the vast majority of us were like, yup, it feels good to see that somebody's taken the fight to them. Now, upon speaking to Attorney John Deaton, Attorney Rispoli ended up deciding that it would probably be in the best interest to just pause the lawsuit for the time being and come back and then sue the bejesus out of them later. And I don't know the rationale for that. I don't know that that's ever been made public, but I trust that whatever rationale, was used to determine that's best to just pause that lawsuit and come back later. I'm willing to bet that it makes all the sense in the world. It's probably some sort of strategic thing. And Attorney Rispoli has made pretty clear that once the SEC v. Ripple case has concluded, it's game on. In fact, it says it right here on the website. Take a look at this. Under background, it says, the April 11th, 2022 lawsuit was voluntarily withdrawn on April 15th, 2022, to be refiled at a later date pending conclusion of the SEC v. Ripple Labs Inc. case. So it's coming back. We've always known that's what's coming. But that's why I'm extra curious about this tweet. And this is from this evening, 7:40 p.m. And in case anybody's curious at the time of recording this, what time is it? It is 11:50 p.m. Central Standard Time. So it's almost November 22nd. And here is what Attorney Rispoli tweeted out again, 7:40 p.m. tonight. Major announcement, November 22nd, 8:21 a.m. Pacific Standard Time from me on the opening of a new front in the battle against SEC corruption. I am very curious. And he tagged me along with some others in the community. And somewhat curiously, he also tagged toxic Bitcoin maximalist Max Kaiser. That guy hates him some XRP, and he hates Ripple. I mean, he hates anything that's not Bitcoin, but he has extra venom for XRP specifically because reasons, mind you, because reasons. It's complete nonsense. That guy's Looney Tunes. And I noticed that thanks to XRP community member Pompous Maxi, he pointed that out. And I was like, so why might he why might he have tagged Max Kaiser there? And everybody else that he tagged, it's just, people within the XRP community. Well, I suspect it's because over the last 6 weeks or so in particular, Max Kaiser has just, without being prompted, mind you, just been posting all sorts of literal lies about XRP, all sorts of hate against XRP specifically, claiming that it is indeed a security. So my suspicion is that whatever this news is that's going to be breaking tomorrow morning, he wants Max Kaiser to see it. Because Max Kaiser suddenly is pro-SEC. Allegedly he's this libertarian guy, but now he's pro-SEC and he wants the government to come down on anything that's not Bitcoin. Now, if that's not self-serving, I don't know what the hell is for Max Kaiser. What the hell? That freaking guy. I mean, he's a piece of work. Let's just say that. That's me being, he's a piece of work. I'll tell you that. So again, 8:21 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that'd be 10:21 a.m. Central Standard Time, which happens to be my time zone. So we don't have to wait that much longer. We're talking about, less than 10 hours or so. So what is this going to be? Well, given that he's publicly stated he doesn't intend to sue Jay Clayton and William Hinman until after the conclusion of the SEC v. Ripple case, it's got to be something else in all likelihood, right? And I don't blame him for that either. And I don't have any sort of inside information on this. I'm just kind of wondering, is it going to have something to do specifically about going after Gensler because of all of the crap that he's been overseeing? I mean, man, my gosh, the degree to which the SEC's actions are specifically benefiting Kim Jong-Gensler seems very obvious, very apparent to me and anybody with half a brain. I mean, he hasn't been going after, think about this. FTX was right under his nose, and he's meeting with SBF, the founder and CEO of that actual Ponzi scheme, second largest cryptocurrency exchange on the entire planet. He's meeting with the guy. Couldn't sniff that one out, but he sure as hell had time to, protect us from a Kim Kardashian tweet, because she was promoting a cryptocurrency. And by the way, she had hashtag ad in it. She wasn't pretending like it wasn't an advertisement. It was known that she was a paid advertisement. Gensler still sued her, but couldn't catch FTX gigantic Ponzi scheme right there. So I don't know. Is it going to have something to do with going after Gary Gensler? Is it going to have something to do with trying to get additional information out of the SEC via FOIA requests? I'm telling you what. It's very clear that Fred Rispoli has some fight in him. So whatever it is, I expect it's going to be appropriately aggressive, which means to say he's going to come in guns a-blazing, whatever this is. So we'll know in the morning. And I'll be happy to talk about that tomorrow, whatever it ends up being. But if he's saying major announcement, which is not something he typically does, yeah, that makes my ears perk up. It's going to be something. And you can take a look at this as far as the Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton crap. There's this article from April of this year. This is from the Crypto Basic, titled "Breaking: Lawsuit Filed Against Former SEC Executives Clayton and Hinman for Corrupt Roles Played in Ripple v. SEC Saga." Following several calls by the XRP community to investigate the allegations of corrupt practices by former Securities and Exchange Commission, former executives Jay Clayton and William Hinman, Shannon O'Leary, via U.S. litigator Fred Rispoli, has filed a class action against the duo. Rispoli alleged in the suit filed against Clayton and Hinman that both former executives acted in favor of their previous and present employers, which have strong affiliations with Ethereum, to hurt the hundreds of thousands of XRP investors globally. In a lengthy Twitter thread, Fred Rispoli noted that while no agency has taken any interest in the calls made by the community to investigate the activities of former SEC Chairman Clayton and the Commission's Finance Director Hinman, O'Leary had decided to take up the matter. According to Rispoli, there is a substantial amount of evidence revealing some of the shady practices of Clayton and Hinman, and as such, action has been filed against them. And here's a quote from him. On April 11th, 2022, a class action lawsuit was filed against Clayton and Hinman for tortious interference in all XRP Ledger network users' valid business expectancy in the XRP Ledger network. The lead plaintiff and my client, Shannon O'Leary, decided to take a stand, end quote. And so again, I love the aggressive approach because they literally and materially have harmed all of the businesses, all the developers building on top of the XRP ledger having nothing to do with Ripple. And they absolutely are claiming that XRP, by the nature of it existing, is a security, which is completely absurd. And they didn't have to do that, they just are. And so to see that there's this angle that you can approach and say, no, there's all sorts of people that you harmed as a result of you making up this complete obnoxious BS, here's your lawsuit. And so I understand and totally respect what Rispoli did in terms of deciding it was best to, at least for now, just tap the pause button and come back with that later. So that's coming. I'm assuming that's separate. And then on top of that, he's got something that we're going to find out about tomorrow. I'm curious. And he's going full crypto here. I'll just, as a friendly reminder, mention that Fred Rispoli also was the one who drafted one of the amicus briefs in the SEC v. Ripple case, and he drafted it for Reaper Financial, which was an interesting business idea. I covered it in great detail on my channel on November 9th when the amicus brief was made public. It's a firm that basically is like destroying coins for various projects. And I don't want to get into the rash. It's not the purpose of this video, but it's a very interesting idea. And Attorney Rispoli drafted that too. So he's doing everything that he can very clearly to help defend and support the XRP community and people within the XRP community at large. So love to see it. So happy to, shout that from the rooftops. Now, on a separate topic, and I'm going to be brief on this one, I just found it interesting. There's just a real short thread from David Schwartz. He shared some thoughts about the whole FTX collapse, and he said the following. There are a few lessons that should be learned from the FTX fiasco, but there's one important lesson that is really pretty obvious in retrospect, and I can say with total confidence will not be learned. If you hold billions of dollars of other people's money for indefinite time periods, the temptation to speculate with those funds is irresistible if there aren't verifiable checks that make such risk-taking virtually impossible. Nothing else will be sufficient. Regulation that punishes after the fact won't catch it. Investor due diligence won't either. Of course, many people will say that it could be and likely is happening, but they'll be shouted down by accusations of sowing FUD or upsetting a system that is making people money. This kind of thing will always happen unless it cannot happen. The temptation is irresistible. That is one of the most important lessons of FTX. But most people will actively choose not to learn this lesson because of, among other things, the telephant in the room. I think he meant elephant. But look, I'll say this. There are ways, at least in the world of crypto, to prevent this from happening. There are actual ways of doing this. Actually, it should be somewhat easy in the world of crypto. Technology exists, it just needs to be implemented, and CZ of cryptocurrency exchange Binance has been talking about this. You can have technology that shows proof of reserves. Unquestionably, undeniably, all you have to know is what the code does, how it works, and then you can trust it. That's it. And if you can see that and just see where it is actually sitting, there you go, right? I mean, that would go a long way, wouldn't it? Look, it's like you can think about what Bernie Madoff did and all the rest of them, but I think for non-crypto assets that aren't on blockchains, it's probably, if anything, easier to get away with that stuff. So it's human nature. It's definitely human nature. And it's not that every human does this or would do this if given the chance. I mean, I sure as hell wouldn't. I mean, my God, because you know how the story ends. Inevitably, if you engage in what is an actual Ponzi scheme, bad times happen and you done get caught. It's just a matter of time. Every Ponzi scheme eventually falls apart. The wheels fall off the wagon. It's just a matter of time. But I know it's just irresistible, and David Schwartz is absolutely right about this. But there is a pretty good path forward, at least in the world of crypto, in terms of seeing where actual funds are sitting. You can do that. You can implement it. And Binance said they're actually working on it for their platform. So more transparency is always better. But what David Schwartz here is saying is certainly not lost on me. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say are right. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon family, Sedan.